Hello, Numeratus community. It's John Conrad today, and I'm with George from Uptrade. He is the broker lead now. George, how you doing?
I'm doing well, John. Yeah, nice to see you again. And yeah, it is. It's been I know we spoke about a few months ago, so it's good to be back on. And yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome. Um, so I know it's been a few months since we've spoken, and it's been quite busy on my end, at least in regards to tax season in the States. But now that that's over with, I wanted to have a conversation with you, George, because I know that a number of clients have been reaching out in regards to how they can consolidate this complexity of having multiple exchanges, more than 20 exchanges, wallets, and brokerage accounts, and how they can consolidate everything into one place. But before we dive in, I kind of want to go over just a general background into you and into Uptrade first. So, George, can you introduce yourself and tell us about what you do at Uptrade?
Absolutely, yes. So me personally, my role is broker lead, so responsible for a lot of our high net worth clients at the brokerage and also the brokerage team. I've been investing and trading crypto for this is my ninth plus year now, so very tenured in the space. And you know, we're trying to do a simple thing well. So the biggest thing at the heart of what we do is relationships. So building really good relationships with all clients, and typically those that are, sometimes even newer investors or committed or serious investors who've been in the space for a long time. So a little bit about myself. I mean, at Uptrade, think of us as like a traditional stockbroker, but for cryptocurrency. And it's all built around the personal service. So those that really value being able to speak to someone, getting to know them personally, this is very important. Which for people that are like very time poor, like business owners, that they have the energy and the interest in learning about crypto, they just don't have the time. And that's really where the value shines. So I have really the honor of speaking with great people across the globe, from America, North America, from Canada, from Australia, and even some parts of Europe and New Zealand.
Oh, very nice. So, how long has Uptrade been formed? I know it's been a few years now, so it's not like it just popped up. I mean, you guys have been quite successful for some time.
Absolutely. So this is going into our third year of operations, and the 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 boutique nature of the brokerage. It actually was birthed from our founder Jeff Silstra, who was the ex-director and ex-shareholder at one of the world's biggest Bitcoin brokerages. So he was very successful there and had thousands of clients that he worked with in the past over the last sort of 6, 7, 8 years. So whilst 3 years is a long time, his experience is actually a lot more in the space. He created Uptrade to be a new and improved version. So he took all the learnings, all the mistakes, and it's very exciting because we're getting to a point now, as you know, with regulations changing, especially in Australia, we are on the cusp of a huge change, which is going to take us from, say, the current level to even greater heights.
I'm really happy to hear that. And Jeff's a very smart guy, and I wish you all, nothing but success. So, George, I wanted to dive into some client specific topics. So, what, if from your experience, are the biggest headaches when onboarding a new client, especially when they have multiple exchanges and they're trying to, of course, come on board, they're trying to get started with Uptrade. So what are the biggest headaches from your perspective in getting that client onboarded?
Yeah, this is a great question because I always like to talk about keeping things simple in crypto. I, Crypto is already a complex industry. It has a lot of nuances, a lot of pitfalls and areas where things can go wrong. So trying to do a complex thing complex is not ideal. You want to do a complex thing simple. So where I see a lot of the headaches is, well, that as you mentioned, setting up five exchanges is problematic in itself due to the fact that, I mean, there's a whole multitude of reasons. One, it's can be quite time consuming and require a lot of resources and time to set up an entity with that exchange. It's also, you have things scattered across different platforms from a taxation point of view. So all your trades are dispersed everywhere, and you need to obviously collate all that and do it accurately. Especially now with regulations changing, they're going to be a lot more tight knit around how accurate this data is. And the second thing is really about, well, data protection, making sure that your data is in a safe, secure country. I mean, I had a client I just spoke to 5 minutes ago. She told me I'm getting 13 phone calls a day because she put her data in some offshore exchange and they've been contacting her out the wazoo. So data protection is key. Security is key, but the simplicity of having everything in the one house where you can trade all these assets, there's phenomenal benefits. One is simplifying taxation, so we can get you all the assets and across all those exchanges about 90% of what you're after. But when it comes to the reporting on the tax side, being able to produce a simple report is very important. So the headaches really are around the onboarding, and especially if you have multiple entities. A lot of our clients, they have not just one account, but three accounts with us. So ideally, you would need to set up three accounts, a personal account, company trust, or a retirement account with each of the platforms to actually trade successfully. We house it all under the one roof, keeping it very simple for security, for safety, and for taxation purposes as well. And the typically where the headaches are is, during quiet times, you don't need good service, right? But when you need good service is when you really need it during bull markets, when the peak hits. And that's when you'll need to have a really, because you want to cash in your profits, all your hard work, all your waiting and patience. You need that premium service to make sure that you can function quite easily.
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about large sums of wealth all consolidated into one account, and I think that that's an ideal situation, right? I always use the analogy that it was the Wild West, and now we're seeing more and more of a framework coming together. So you want to have an accounting, you want to know where everything is, and you want to be able to get in and get out. When things are running. So having everything in one place, I think, is extremely huge, and it's what some of the clients here are specifically looking for at Numeratus. So let's just say, in an ideal situation, everything gets into that one place. But now, what about the service that Uptrade offers as a broker, from being just that dedicated personal broker tied to that specific client?
Yeah, so the personal service, it's something that seems so simple, but it's so important for a multitude of reasons. One is the biggest thing overarching is safety and security. I mean, we can only tell you how many scams of or clients being compromised we've stopped from actually losing all their money because we have the personal relationship. So it's as simple as calling the client and asking them, is it you making this request? We never really spoke about you making this withdrawal, but you are withdrawing. And then what happened was there's been some scenarios where their computer's been compromised. Someone's actually gone into the exchange or platform, done the trades, requested the withdrawal, and then by the time it gets to us, we call the client for each and every single withdrawal. We stop that request. So security is paramount, and we actually saved that client from losing about 100,000 US dollars just simply from a phone call saying, "Is this you?" The client said, "This is not me. I'm not in the portal. I haven't had access to it for a day or so," and we put a blanket pause. So the security component is the biggest value. Now, this is really important when you have large amounts of wealth that you have in a platform. You need to know that the next morning you wake up, it's still there. Now, that is important. The second thing is around the strategy, the research, the personal service, so you can really speak to a broker and get a quick market update. We live and breathe this morning, day, and night. We have an analyst team spending about 200 hours a week in research, especially when it comes to banking. You're depositing to and from accounts. You need to have that personal service in case there's something that's missing. I know that with exchanges, they may use AI chatbots, which can be quite frustrating in my experience dealing with this. But you can call someone at any time. You can email, WhatsApp, whichever platform, and you can get an answer within minutes. And the difference between you potentially doing a 30% gain versus a 300% gain in a bull market, that span of getting things right is very short. So we can get things done really quickly. And that's everything from the onboarding to execution to withdrawing funds and storage.
Hmm. Yeah, I can attest to that. I mean, we clearly now living in the digital age, we use technology, but we want to have a someone front facing. We want to talk to a human, especially in a situation like this. You put your orders in, but when you see something pop up, do you want to have a push notification on your phone saying that this looks like fraud, or do you actually want someone to actually call you to actually verify this information? I think that that's extremely important because we can utilize the technology, but not necessarily take the human out of it. So I commend Uptrade for doing that. So I wanted to get into the fee structure, right? So of course I know we'll get a lot of questions in regards to how Uptrade's fees work and in regards to volume. So can you touch on that, George?
Yeah, sure. So it's a really transparent and simple fee. It's actually the most simplest to understand because we don't charge hidden fees. I know a lot of platforms like exchanges, they charge slippage, spread. You can't really do more than say 20K orders at a time. With us, we utilize smart order routing so that you can do anywhere from say 2,000 US dollars to a billion in one click of a button, and we tap into so many different prices. We effectively get people the best market pricing. So the first thing is we don't charge any of those hidden fees, no gas fees, no foreign exchange. It's all just built around no extra fees for securely storing the assets, for research or strategy. So it's all baked around a 3.5% brokerage. So it's a buy or a sell. And the idea is that it's all built in. So when you factor it in and you actually add up all of the hidden costs that exchanges charge, it in reality, it's not that big of a jump in that comparison. And the benefits of this is we use the institutional secure custody, which is the gold standard in the industry. That is not a cheap platform. We really use the cream of the crop when it comes to securing client assets. And so all of this is baked around that, as I mentioned, at 3.5%.
Yeah, very nice. Uh, so there's also another area I want to get into. So from a numeratus perspective, we have several clients who are just investors, and then we have several clients that are investors, and then they have their businesses. So I know that you, like you had mentioned before, you have a mixed portfolio of clients. So what does the onboarding look like from those two perspectives, right? Because there might be some individuals that have a significant wealth that might consider coming on, but what's the difference if they come on and they have their business as well, and vice versa? So just to get an appetite for both of those profiles.
Yes, so we purposely built Uptrade to support multiple entities. That's everything from personal accounts, businesses, to retirement accounts, trusts, any structure you name it, we can support. And the onboarding of that, it's all tied to a personal account, but then you can choose which account you can transact under. So we have got some clients who have three different trusts with us, but they select and they delegate which account they want to trade under, they want to withdraw, deposit under, which one we're in reference to, and it's all self-serve via our client portal. And we have an onboarding team that handholds you through that onboarding process. So typically, we would have a personal back and forth around, what documents are required to get verified. All these notarized copies of the trust deeds. If there are any beneficiaries, we simplify this entirely by having again someone to speak to in the onboarding process. So typically with exchanges, that can be a very lengthy process because of how complex and nuanced the back and the thing is it gets complex when it's an offshore exchange and the language is not really adding up because they use different terminologies than what you would use. But with us, we keep it really simple. It's one, obviously the English language simplified, and the benefit of that is that it's expedited. So what could take 2 weeks with us could take up to 2 hours if all the documents are ready and there to go, or even quicker.
Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of clients that are considering opening up self-directed IRAs, solo 401ks with their businesses. So even with those various profiles that we were just showcasing, can you speak about opening up? Well, they of course opened up those self-directed IRAs, but then integrating Uptrade with them. It sounds like it's just kind of all the same onboarding process. So regardless of the vehicle that the client's coming with, it sounds like Uptrade just has the means to do that. Is that fair to say?
That is a fair blanket rule, yes. So whether it's for, self-directed IRAs or 401ks, we can support it. And for us, it's not that different to setting up a trust or a company account, for an example. It's just a matter of the right documentation, the right vehicle, and we can support all those entity types.
That's excellent because I think that there's a number of individuals, especially if they're wealthy, they happen to be in a different age bracket, and some of them are coming from like their 401ks from their careers. They're rolling them over into some of these self-directed IRAs, and the whole notion of like the checkbook IRA and everything of that nature. But if you have everything segregated into multiple wallets, right? When you're trying to get into a place where you have everything in one place, you don't have that at your disposal. So it almost behooves us to consolidate everything inside one of these investment vehicles and utilize, a brokerage like Uptrade. So I think it goes hand in hand, and it sounds very promising that it's, a very streamlined process.
It's a win for everyone. It's a win for for clients because they simplify everything. It's a win for you because it's simple for you to digest, and it makes things very. It avoids any sort of unexpected or hidden things that you would need to do down the line to backtrack on your data. It's if you think about it, it's one house. Everything is segmented and siloed according to the right vehicle. You can easily do that from within the client portal. You can even, if you're traveling or you're on a yacht, maybe some people are traveling the world and they don't have time to even transit. They can email their broker or even our 24/7 email for support. And it's definitely designed for, as you discussed, people that want to have the optionality and the vehicles to do so.
Oh, excellent. So from Uptrade's perspective, when an investor comes on board, and they're looking for some sort of statements to their accounts, right? That's to say, like, they could be dollar cost averaging, they could be having multiple orders into the brokerage. But do they typically get a normal statement every month, or is it just baked into your overall dashboard?
The beautiful part of this is the dashboard can generate as required. So you could go in every month and generate a monthly report, a yearly, a quarterly report, last financial year within the click of a button, and everything for each of the vehicles is created. Let's say you have three accounts with Uptrade. Within the click of three buttons, you can generate a tax statement report, provide that to yourself, John, and that's it. They can be on their way. No, not having to sync up wallets to different tax calculator software and having to do all the this is going to become very important, especially when more and more products come to life. Like if we're talking about staking and lending and borrowing and all these different products that we may be exploring right now, having to do the taxes for all this is just going to get more and more complicated. So the more you future proof and keep it simple right now through the brokerage and the premium service, then that'll become in my well, I wish I did this 10 years ago for myself personally.
Yeah. So for someone who's juggling, trying to do it all themselves, what's the simplest next step that they can take today to touch base with Uptrade?
That's a great question. I think the best thing would be to just have a conversation. We'd love to speak with you. We're humans. We don't bite. And what I can do is I might even just share my screen and bring it up now. And we
Sure.
have an easy landing, like a page where you can come in, you can read a little bit about Numeratus, about Uptrade. You can even book a consultation, or if you want to skip that, you just want to sign up now, you can. So this will be provided to you where you can provide some details about what you're looking to achieve. And this is free, it's no obligation. You're just having a conversation with a human that's been doing this for many, many, many times in the past. So you can understand whether this works for you. But just to summarize, if it sounds like this is for you, we'd love to speak with you, and we're really passionate and proud of what we do. So
Oh, excellent. George, is there anything else you'd like to let the listeners know before they reach out?
I think another component, which is the very important component, is if you are someone that values strategy, research, getting ahead, because most people in crypto, yes, it's great to start, and they treat it like a hobby. This is far from a hobby. It's the most volatile, like human element or market in the world. I've never seen a market so volatile and showing extreme emotions from extreme greed to extreme fear. Having someone in your corner like a broker, having a sounding board, it seems so simple in nature. Even people that are do-it-yourself investors, I speak with a lot of successful traders. They've made 20, 40 million. They just have someone that's to sound their ideas to. And the whole idea is that you want to keep things in a guardrail, safe environment where you have someone that you can get a quick update for, and really these 5-minute phone conversations could be the difference between you selling at the right time and avoiding buying at the wrong time. It seems very complex. We don't have a crystal ball, but it's these little pearls of wisdom which you can get access to, which make all the difference. So I just thought I'd leave everyone with that last piece of information.
No, absolutely, George. And it's funny too because some clients reach out there they're asking, what token, what am I into? And it's like, no, 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 no. I tell you what the afterwards, after you've already done all that, I put it all together. But if you want to have conversations like that, reach out to Uptrade. So I want to thank everybody, and we'll see you on the next call.
Thanks, John. It's great to see you. And yeah, appreciate everyone for watching and look forward to speaking with some of you soon. So take care.
Thanks, George.